Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Venom, a poisonous substance secreted by animals such as snakes, spiders, and scorpions, and typically injected into prey or aggressors by biting or stinging, which basically describes on what the movie Venom is really all about. It's a big stinging fuck you to all of us. I waited almost a year for this movie to come out. I'm a Tom Hardy fan. When he was casted as Venom, I'm like, cool. They're continuing the tradition of good actors being cool superheroes. But unfortunately, the movie was. It was shit. I mean, it was just absolute shit. I mean, in the first 5-10 minutes, you can tell they're just rushing the story, and it was just horrible. So then I'm thinking to myself, the last time I saw Venom in a movie was in Spider-Man 3 when Peter Parker decided to do the whitest dancing I've ever seen. And, they decided, hey, it's a good idea for the guy who plays Eric in the '70s show to be Venom. How could it get any worse? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in 2018, it got worse. And unfortunately, the movie's only an hour and a half. I shouldn't say unfortunately, because, at least we didn't have to waste, 2.5 hours on this. But, yeah, it's, I really thought to myself, like, what went wrong? Like, why are they rushing the story? Why are the effects, kind of cheesy? Why is the acting so stiff? Why? So I've come to a couple conclusions, and I'm pretty sure by the end of this, you'll pretty much agree with me. But let's go back to where Venom started, shall we? Now, Venom is a fictional character from the Marvel Comics. He made his first appearance in the Amazing Spider-Man issue 252, May in 1984. And look, I'll be honest with you. I mean, he just looks cool, okay? Like nobody really gives a shit about all this. I mean, he's a cool villain. He's always looked cool. He comes in this like liquid form, whatever, and basically whoever touches him or whoever he wants to come in contact with, gets all these superpowers. I mean, he can stretch out his arms. He can shoot all this liquid shit out of his body. It's just a very cool character, a very cool anti-hero. So you think to yourself, okay, like, how can they mess this up again? Okay, in the first one, they kind of just gave him a little introduction, and I'm sure they wanted to probably make another Spider-Man 4 and, maybe make him more of a bigger character. But, I mean, like, like, how did they fuck this up so bad? How? I mean, let's just, again, maybe I'll give some spoilers to the movie, whatever. So if you don't want to listen, whatever, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Just don't listen. But I'm just going to give you a little brief synopsis here of the movie. So here goes. The movie starts off with this alien ship coming out of nowhere. I don't know where it came from. Space, Final Frontier, all that shit. And then, a bunch of spacemen are on there. So then the thing starts crawling around, the little glob of glue, whatever you want to call it, that is Venom. And the first thing that throws me off right off the bat is that it goes onto this astronaut who seems to be still, alive for some reason. So again, you're going to have to turn your brain off, because if you crash from space into Earth, you can somehow survive it, which I didn't think was possible. But anyways, so it takes over the dude's body. He's in the ambulance, and then the nurse touches him, takes over the nurse, and then the nurse touches the driver. Now, in my head, I'm like, okay, if the last person it touches, then it should take over that body, right? So why does it take over the nurse and not the driver? Okay, I'll tell you why. Because the nurse is a beautiful woman, and it just looks cooler if she takes over it. So there you go. So let's start off with that, and then starts off with Tom Hardy, who is playing the character Eddie Brock, and he's waking up to his future fiance there, played by Michelle Williams, who's playing Anne Weighing. And I see, again, I get if you're like an English British actor, like it's hard to pull off the American accent. I get that, like right off the bat, I almost feel like Tom Hardy was not meant to play this role. And again, like I'm saying, I love Tom Hardy, man. He's an awesome actor. He's in some really cool movies. The Drop Off, Bronson. It's just some really cool movies over the years. But I almost get the feeling that he just wasn't meant to play this role. It's just it's already just not suiting him. I don't know. Like at times, like you feel he's trying to make it a little jokey. Kind of like what Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool, but it's just, I don't know, it's just not working. I don't know. And and the acting's kind of stiff, like I said before. And, Michelle Williams, like she's a really cool actress too. I mean, she's done a lot of cool movies too. And, but again, I don't know, I'm not feeling the chemistry, it's almost like they're forced to be together. I don't know, I'm just not really feeling it. And, the story, the story speeds up really quick. I mean, it's not, it doesn't take its time at all, I mean, it doesn't have any build up or anything, you don't know how these people met. Tom Hardy's character is playing some kind of, I guess, sleazy reporter or something, and then he eventually interviews the one bad guy, who is played by Riz Ahmed, who plays the character Carlton Drake, also known as Riot. Later on, you'll see that later on in the film. He does the whole transformation there, whatever, into the main bad guy. Again, I mean, I never really heard of this guy. I mean, I even had to look it up on IMDb. What is he been in? I mean, the only thing I really know of, he basically played the sidekick in Nightcrawler there. Other than that, I don't know much about him. So, yeah, and like I said, the story just moves really slow, and then they try to speed it up again, and I just wasn't feeling it. I mean, I don't know. And then and then I thought to myself, like, who was the writer of this movie? Because obviously you got to have a good writer for a good movie, right? I mean, that makes sense, right? So then I looked it up, and apparently there were 3 writers. Their names were Jeff Pinkner, Scott Rosenberg, and Kelly Marcel. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, 3 writers, they must have some experience in writing superhero movies or comic book characters, whatever. So let's check out what Jeff Pinkner has written so far. It says here the very first thing he wrote is Ally McBeal. Okay, now, again, a lot of people liked Ally McBeal. I wasn't that big of a fan, but okay. Okay. He also wrote Alias, Okay, so Alias is, sort of like a superhero, you know? Okay, so that's along the lines, Lost. He wrote 4 episodes of Lost. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know my opinions about Lost by now, you will know in my little brief summary I'm about to give you. First of all, I couldn't have picked a better title for the show Lost, because that's exactly what you are when you watch the show. The first season, I'm not going to lie, was awesome. They had a good concept there. And then after that, they just said, fuck it. We're just going to make up shit as we go along. So, yeah, we're not off to a good start here. Then we got Fringe. Again, I wasn't a fan of the show. Some people were. I watched a little bit of it. Wasn't a fan of it. He also did the screen story and screenplay for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which pretty much halted the Spider-Man franchise for a little bit, because it got to a point where it was such shit and they couldn't cast the right Spider-Man, and the story was just absolutely horrible. It was 2 hours of a horrible, horrible, horrible love story that nobody gave a shit about. Like in the beginning, the movie started off great, and then right at the end, where the Rhino dude showed up, okay, that's when the movie gets good. And let's cut off the movie right there. Let's say fuck you to the audience for 2 hours, and then right when the movie gets good, let's just cut it off right there. Okay, that's great. Okay, so. Oh, God. So you can already see this isn't the best idea for a movie. Okay, let's go to the next person. Maybe he can, help us out here. Scott Rosenberg. Okay. Let's see what he wrote. Okay, there we go. You know what? He's written some kick-ass movies. Gone 60 Seconds, like that. Con Air, cool. Okay, again, I'm a guy. I like a good action film. It doesn't have to have the best plot, but as long as it's got some cool action scenes, I'm there. Why not? Screenplay for High Fidelity. Awesome, funny movie. Love it. Okay, so this is where the problem starts. Screenplay for Kangaroo Jack. Huh. Okay. For those of you who never heard of Kangaroo Jack, I'm very envious of you. It's actually a movie starring Anthony Anderson, who I like, by the way. So I don't know what he was thinking doing this movie. Jerry O'Connell's in it. A lot of people know him from Stand By Me. I'll always know him for My Secret Identity. I thought that was an awesome show. I don't care what anybody says. But yeah, this is, you know what? I've never seen this movie. I just assume it sucks just looking at the poster. I mean, it got a 4.4 rating on IMDb. I'm assuming it's about a cartoon Kangaroo Jack coming to life and, trying to help, certain people in this movie get a simple paycheck. I don't know, but it just looking at the poster, it looks just horrible. It looks absolutely horrible. So, yeah. Okay. So we're going to move to the next writer, and the last writer, Kelly Marcel. Okay, let's see. Okay. Her very first credit is the writer for 50 Shades of Grey. I'm sorry for pausing there for a while. I'm just wondering why the writer of 50 Shades of Grey is, why is she writing for one of the coolest villains in Marvel history? Okay. Once again, for those of you who don't know what 50 Shades of Grey is, it's a book about, a guy meets a girl, girl meets guy, I guess. And I don't know, they have wild sex under contract. Something about whips and beads. I don't know. The point is, I don't know why this person is focused on Venom. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Good writing creates good movies. Bad writing creates shitty movies. Wow. Okay. So, yeah. So, okay. So the story. Okay. So let's just be honest. The story never had a chance in making it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe at one point Venom was going to torture their victims by chaining them up and whipping them to death. Maybe I don't know. Okay. But anyways. Okay. So yeah. So the writing was shit. Okay. Let's just end it right there. So now the acting. Like I said before, the acting was extremely stiff. I mean, it just didn't flow well. Two main characters, Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams there. There was just no connection, I felt. And unfortunately, it just showed on the screen. You see Michelle Williams in a lot of her roles. And she's always very chill. I mean, for the most part, she really knows how to play it up as an actress. There's a lot of emotion with her roles there. I even heard she's gonna play Janis Joplin soon, so that should be pretty good. One of my favorite roles she was in was a movie called Blue Valentine that she did with Ryan Gosling. And it's just basically about a story about a couple who meet each other and a lot of things that the guy does to, impress a woman, little things like playing a guitar and, stuff like that. And then over time, he's kind of an alcoholic. He doesn't really give a shit. And they're trying to spark up the relationship again, but, she's just very depressed and, she just wants out of this. And, the guy's doing everything he can to keep her and, the emotion she showed in that was really cool. I always felt she was a really good actress. Just here it's, I don't know, it's just, I'm gonna leave you, Venom, and maybe I'll have feelings for you later. And, it just, but again, the writing sucks. There's no, what should have been more of a story, it just ended up being very quick. Okay, yeah, they're engaged and then he fucks up and then I don't like you anymore. Okay, then maybe I'll like you later. It's too quick. I don't like it. Like I said before, the movie's only an hour and a half. This is a movie that should have been well over 2 hours. So did they edit a lot of the good stuff out? Did they not have faith in this movie? They didn't want to put a lot into it, because I'm told that it would only cost $100 million, so obviously that's a lot of money, but it's not that much money, Usually movies like this are at least I don't know, let's say, I don't know, probably more, at least maybe 150, 175, but I don't know, maybe they're just testing the waters with this one. Maybe they felt halfway through it just wouldn't work. So, and Tom Hardy's performance, it's okay. At times, people were saying that he struggled with his accent, and then trying to, perform the American accent. It wasn't really there. Like I said, I don't think Tom Hardy should have been casted for this role. It just doesn't suit him. I don't know. I don't know what is it. It just really, it really just doesn't suit him, And like I said, it's not really his fault. Again, go back to the writing. The writing, didn't really help anything either. But I don't know. I feel like he's trying too hard to, I don't know, be funny and neurotic, and like at times when he's like being the reporter, he's trying to be a douchebag, but I think even Tom Hardy's too cool to even pull off pretending he's a douchebag. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't work. I mean, I don't know who else would have cast, but I mean, it just doesn't. It just doesn't suit him. And then like that like right off the bat too, like right in the beginning they show him as a reporter and they show these like different clips of him, and it just seems like I don't know if it's Tom Hardy or the script, or it just doesn't seem anybody gives a shit. So it just doesn't work at all. When you read a script or when you read anything, you should have some sort of emotion towards it, or just have some kind of passion towards it. And like everybody in this film, it just seemed like, I don't know, nobody really gave a shit. It just they didn't really care. I mean, you didn't really believe it on screen. The script, I don't think, was anything special. It was a very simple, almost quick story. You felt like in many ways they were kind of just like rushing this movie. So honestly, if you don't have a good script, and if you don't have actors who can really pull it off, or in this case just don't really care about the writing and just don't really want it to explode on screen, it's just not going to happen. And like I said, like a lot of this just feels very quick, very forced, and it just doesn't flow really well. It's not good. It pains me to say that, it really does, because like I said, I was really looking forward to seeing this movie, but it just wasn't there for me. Now, the special effects. Special effects I felt were okay. Nothing special, nothing over the top, I mean, considering that the main special effect in this is just basically a blob. I mean, that's all really Venom is. It's just some kind of chemical substance that came from space, and whatever it touches, it just takes over that form. And for some reason, Venom really connected with Tom Hardy's character, and he just wanted to stick with him. So again, the special effects were okay. I mean, the last scene at the end, though, I thought was pretty good. The whole fight scene there. I don't want to give a lot away, but I thought that was pretty good. I mean, that's probably the best part of the special effects for sure. The fight scenes were okay. I mean, there's a kind of a chase scene, with a motorcycle, which. Actually, you know what? I just thought of something. I don't know if they were doing that. Maybe like I'm not gonna say that was like a Steve McQueen reference to The Great Escape or anything like that, because maybe they think Tom Hardy's like that kind of similar actor or whatever. I mean, maybe that's what they were going for, just like more of the street version. I don't know. Like for some reason, like I kept watching that scene. I just kept thinking of that scene from The Rock, because I think this movie was majority taped in San Francisco or whatever, because just like the hill. I mean, like every time I watch a movie and I see a bunch of hills, I just assume it was taped in San Francisco. So, I just kept remembering that scene. Like Sean Connery. Like just going down the street there. I hope you're insured. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was all right. Now, the highlight of the film, what a lot of people are saying as well, is basically just the back and forth between Brock and Venom. So the whole time, Tom Hardy's character Brock, he's going through the movie while he's got the Venom inside him, and Brock is just talking to him. You can say random things like "hungry," or shit like that. But I felt it got better as it went on. And that goes for like the entire movie as well. Like the first hour, like to be honest with you, it's just not good. And then like the last half hour, it kind of just like says, okay, you've been with us for 2.5 hours before this. Now the last third of it is this is where we're gonna put all the money into it. This is where we're gonna pick up a little bit more of the dialogue, whatever. So like again, that was cool. The whole back and forth thing. But again, I just didn't feel it as much as, I don't know. It could have been so much better. Like, it's one of those things, like, you got to watch it, and then you're like, okay, yeah, it could have been, there's something there, but it could have been way better, if it was written better and, properly. And I don't know. Just, yeah. Here's the really weird thing, though. A couple months ago, I saw this movie that had this actor named Logan Marshall Green, and the movie was called Upgrade. And it's really weird because the movie that he was in is about a guy who, has an accident and unfortunately, is basically paralyzed. And he's given this little chip in his body, and it makes him pretty much like a superhero. But at the same time, later on, he finds out that the chip ends up talking to him. And it's very similar to what they did in Venom. So, I mean, obviously, people know the story about Venom. I mean, this happened before. But what's really weird is, like, Logan Marshall Green and Tom Hardy almost look like brothers. I remember when I first saw Logan Marshall Green in the OC. And yes, I watched the OC. Okay, so don't give me shit for that. At the time, it was a good show. Anyways, I thought later on when Tom Hardy got famous, I thought this was the same guy. So it's kind of funny how these two guys who look alike almost did the exact. I'm not gonna say the exact same movie, but it's kind of like the same thing where someone's talking to him in his head, and it's just weird. I don't know. I just found that weird. I just wanted to throw that in there. But if you ever have the chance, see Upgrade. Upgrade is a really good movie. It came out 2018. Excellent movie. And if you've never heard of Logan Marshall Green, you see a picture of him, and then you look at a picture of Tom Hardy, and you basically think they're twins. Now, the director of Venom was a gentleman called Ruben Fleischer. Again, I've never heard of him before, but I looked on his IMDb here, and he did a cool movie, Zombieland, which might have one of the best cameos of all time by one of the funniest men of all time, which is Bill Murray. So if you got a chance, check that out. Unfortunately, he did Gangster Squad and 30 Minutes or Less. 30 Minutes or Less, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's just a shitty comedy. It's got a lot of funny people in it. It just didn't work. Gangster Squad is basically a gangster movie, B movie level at best. I know a lot of times you're thinking, oh yeah, B movies aren't that bad. No, this one is like the definitive B movie. Again, it wasn't good. So again, and going back to Zombieland, going back to the end credits, again, spoiler alert if you want to hear this, but it shows somebody in a cell played by Woody Harrelson. He's wearing a red wig, and he said, there will be carnage. So, of course, that's a reference to Carnage, also a villain in the Marvel Comics. So, will we expect him in the next one? Probably. So, what can we say about all this? Venom. I mean, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. I mean, I was disappointed in this movie. It did have some good points, though. I'm just glad it wasn't as bad as the recent Fantastic Four. I mean, they've had 4 chances to make a good Fantastic Four movie. They literally all, like, if you watch them in order, they literally all get worse and worse and worse and worse, which I didn't think that was even possible, on planet Earth to do, but it happened. And when they were giving out the reviews, I'm like, okay, there's no way this movie's worse than Fantastic Four. Let me just put that out there. It's not worse than Fantastic Four. It's not the best superhero movie ever. I mean, it needs a lot of improvement. I mean, like I said before, I honestly believe that they were just testing the waters with this one and just seeing what works, what doesn't. I mean, they didn't make the movie that long. They didn't put that much into it. So I'm sure, they're just going to play off the success. It's like when they come out with a one good superhero movie, they're like, oh shit, okay, we're definitely going to make a sequel. The second one, we won't put as much in because, because eventually, it's going to make more money than the first one, hopefully. Because if you missed it in the theaters the first time, then you're going to want to see it in the second time. And then the third one, you'll put all the money in there. And then, and then we can make it a trilogy and then make lots of money. It just keeps going and going and going. So that's my theory to this. Again, it's not the worst superhero movie I've ever seen, Green Lantern, but it needs a lot of improvement. I think the main thing is just a solid script. Keep in mind, you got to write a really good script for these actors, and you get good actors, and I'm not even saying that they didn't get good actors for this, but it's hard to be a good actor with a short and shitty script. It's pretty much impossible. And I know a lot of nerds out there are going to say, you have to make sure you stick to the comic books and all that. And again, that is part of it. But at the same time, you got to entertain everybody. When you make a movie, that's the challenge of making the movie in general, is just trying to relate to everybody. You got to have a good, solid character. Then you got to have a love interest. You got to have a good story. You got to have a good villain. You got to have an arc. You got to have everything come together. But if you're just rushing it, it's going to suck. And you know what really sucks? Now, again, I wasn't a big comic book fan, but even I can agree with any fellow nerd out there, is that when you have a brutally violent comic book character like Venom, why is the movie rated PG-13? Did we not learn anything from Deadpool or the recent Wolverine? How much did those kick ass? Why is Venom being degraded? Now I get it, okay, between 13 and 18, those 5 years, you're gonna have to make as much money as you can. But you know what? In the end, man, it's gonna suck. You just want to bleed a franchise dry, and that's it. Make good quality movies. Put as much as you can into it. Because who knows, 5, 10, 20 years from now, are we still going to keep seeing all these superhero movies? In the 90s, they made all these superhero movies. Nobody gave a shit. They were just simple little things. And then pretty much, I don't know, the way I understand it, Spawn kind of had the right idea, but, it was okay. It didn't do that well, but you got the ball rolling. And then when X-Men hit, forget it. Everybody was just buying off everything they could, and holy shit, there's money to be had here, but then, there's movies like Venom and Green Lantern and Fantastic Four where they just don't put a lot into it, and it's just shit, and it just dilutes, the water, and it sucks, so, and you got a cool guy like Tom Hardy playing Venom, great actor, man. You got to give him the respect he deserves. You got to give him the script he deserves. And if you're going to make a sequel with Woody Harrelson, look at Woody Harrelson's discography of movies. And that guy has done some excellent movies. Everything from The Messenger to The People vs. Larry Flint. He's done some awesome movies. That guy deserves a respectable script too. And I'm also hearing that they might want to add another bad guy if they do make another one, which they probably will, because I think worldwide, the first weekend it made over $200 million on a $100 million budget. So it's already made double in 3-4 days. So more than likely it's going to happen. They want Jared Leto to play some bat villain or something like that, part of the comic books too. I don't know, I didn't read this shit. But, again, all three, if you got all three of these dudes in a second movie, in a sequel to Venom, please have a good script. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I was a kid of the 90s. I love Showgirls. But did I think the script was good? No. I liked it for many, many other reasons. The point is, have a good script. Don't take advantage of the audience. You know the audience is going to go see this movie. Give them good quality on the screen. I don't want to see poison on the screen. I want to see Venom.